Evidently, you'd kill your own daughter, you beta male cuck loser. No woman should ever entrust a psycho like you with her child. Whoa, what a wild intro. Yo, my name is Chaos Light, and I'm going to talk to you about The Last of Us. And I'm sure you read the title, and I know it sounds really extreme. I promise you it's not clickbait. I totally have a point, so if you just give me the time and bear with me and open your heart to the possibility of this, I promise you it'll be worth it. And if you stay, you get to hear why I read you that random comment and where that came from. So yeah, let's do this. So there's a quote from Neil Druckmann, the director of the game, that I really like, and he says that right and wrong are a matter of perspective. And I think that's really true. And the game does a lot of things to play with what is right, what is wrong, based on the perspective. I've always had the perspective that the decision that Joel made was quote-unquote wrong. There is obviously no right and wrong, but based on everything that I saw in the game, based on my own life experiences, based on the things that I saw in the game, I felt that his decision was quote-unquote wrong, and I thought there was a lot of reasons why that decision was wrong. I also readily admit that if I was in the same position as him, I might make the same decision. I totally understand why he made the decision. But what I found really interesting when I would go through Reddit and YouTube comments and stuff like that is that people very aggressively thought Joel was right, like undoubtedly right, and you are a piece of shit if you think otherwise. There are a lot of people that feel very aggressively that Joel is right, and so I wanted to make a video about it, not to come after people and say, well, actually, Joel is wrong because of blah blah blah, but to have a deeper analysis about the choices Joel made, why he made the choices, and the implication that those choices have. I also believe that a lot of the reason why people are so sensitive about Joel's decision is because they have wrapped that decision in the lens of what it means to be a father. And if you are wondering why this video essay is so long, it's because if I'm going to talk about Joel's decision, which is a very sensitive topic for a lot of people, I'm wanting to be able to show my work, to show that I am doing this in good faith, and that I'm really taking a lot of care and empathy when I am making the statements that I'm making. And if you want to skip all that, just check the chapters, it'll be in the description. So if you are interested in analyzing Joel's choice and how it relates to the conception of fatherhood and a deep dive on Ellie and Joel's character and all of that, then I am your guy. Why am I talking such in a high voice? Sorry. Anyway, yeah, let's do the thing. Let's start. So, ground rules. Here is what I'm going to be using when I am doing the analysis. I'm going to be using The Last of Us game, the Left Behind DLC, and The Last of Us TV show. Now, I know The Last of Us TV show kind of deviates from certain points, but after watching the TV show a whole bunch of times, I think it adds a layer of things and goes deeper, and the discrepancies between the games, like, you know, meeting Frank Moore or, you know, Sam, I believe that's his name, either Sam or Henry, one of the kids being deaf, don't actually affect the major points that I'm trying to hit. So I'm going to be using all of that, and I really like using that because it allows us to dig deeper and deeper because we have more material to work with. I really want to highlight this point that this is not a defamation of Joel Miller. I really love the character. I actually relate a shit ton to the character. I think he's an amazing character, and so when I'm calling out these behaviors and I'm calling out things, it is not an attack on the voice actors or the character or anything like that. I'm just wanting to talk deeper about the character and about things regarding the character. So if we're going to talk about Joel, that means we have to start at the beginning, and we all know what happens at the beginning, and I'm unfortunately going to play the clip. And the reason I'm playing the clip is not to torture you, but to kind of give us the starting point and the emotional weight that Joel is carrying throughout the entire video game and TV show. So I'm sorry, here we go. If you want to skip, it's totally fine, but I think it highlights the points.
There's a little girl, but... Yes, sir.
Somebody, we've just been through hell. Okay, we just need... Shit. Please don't. Oh, no. Sarah. Move your hands, babe. I know, baby, I know. Listen to me, I know this hurts, baby. You're gonna be okay, baby. Stay with me. All right, I'm gonna pick you up. I know, baby, I know it hurts. Come on, baby, please. I know, baby, I know. Sarah. Baby. Don't do this to me, baby. Don't do this to me, baby. Come on. No. No. No, 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 please. Oh, God. Please, please, please don't. Please.
Holy shit. I am crying so much. There's a painful part in the TV show where Pedro Pascal's Joel screams, "Tommy, help me," in one of the most pained voices I've ever heard in my entire life. So let's talk about what this does to Joel. So that is his child, right? Duh. And he was responsible and taking care of them and making sure that they are safe. And he was doing a really, really good job with the whole world falling apart. You know, him and Tommy, they have a gun. You know, he stops, the neighbors from killing her. You know, they're driving, things are going crazy, and he's really, really doing a good job. And he even lets Tommy go and defend them while he gets Sarah away. And even in all of these things, just meeting the soldier, he gets his daughter killed. And he feels responsible. He did that because of his failing. His daughter is dead, and that's something to really, really keep in mind when we're going forward talking more about Joel, is that he feels like he is a failure and he does not want to fail a loved one again. So after that happens, there is a 20-year time skip, and there's a lot of really, really important things that happen in that time skip. And we're not going to focus on a lot of them because they're going to come up as the show goes on. But essentially, some of the really, really important ones was that him and Tommy were together, and Joel kind of pushed them into doing some really, really dark, morally compromising shit in order to survive. Because after his daughter dies, the most important thing to Joel is making sure that he survives. That's the only thing that matters, is surviving. And doing anything to survive is justifiable as long as you live. So they do a bunch of fucked up stuff, and then he ends up meeting Tess, and they kind of have a romantic/not romantic relationship, and they're smugglers. And when he's with Tess, he also does a lot of bad things, but it's all in the name of survival. Joel is a relatively good person, so he feels a lot of moral weight with these decisions and with these things that he's done, but he justifies all of it in the name of survival. But this weight does hold him down. So some things happen, and Marlene tasks Joel and Tess with taking Ellie to the group of people, to the Fireflies. And Joel does not want to do this, and he doesn't want to do this for a few reasons. Obviously, there's the obvious reason of not wanting to be involved with the kid since he lost his kid, but also Ellie makes them surviving harder. With having to watch out for a kid, it's tough enough to just protect yourself, but to then be in charge of another kid, that is not something that he is interested in doing at all. On the other side, Ellie is obviously not thrilled about being with these people because they don't know them, but Ellie is really, really excited that they are on the outside world. And there's a lot of examples of them being really, really excited about them being in the outside world. They were stuck in their facility for their entire life, so they've never got to go outside. They never got to, see the trees and all of these fun things. So for her, there's a big excitement as well. But something that's really, really interesting that they highlighted more in the show is that there's that moment where the guards are about to find out that Ellie is infected, and so Ellie stabs one of them in the leg. And in the video game, Joel just kind of beats the person up. But in the TV show, Joel has a PTSD attack because it's another soldier, coming after him. And he beats the person to death with his bare hands, which is really, really intense. And it's a very shocking thing. And Ellie is shocked, but she's also intrigued and excited by it because it's someone that is protecting her. And that is further emphasized by the creators confirming this.
Asshole! In the final moments of this episode, Joel forgets that the girl that is standing behind him is not his daughter.
Primitive instinct takes over. He can't help but act. Something else took control of him in a similar way to how the cordyceps does, except for him, it's a version of love.
The most remarkable thing about that moment is that when Ellie watches him beating a man to death, she is activated. earlier in the episode, when Sarah sees him killing this old woman who's infected, who he has to kill.
You killed her.
She cries.
Baby, I'm sorry.
Ellie doesn't cry. Ellie likes it. She likes the idea of somebody defending her like that, and she likes the idea of that guy being punished. And this is where you begin to see the problem, but also the deliciousness of the pairing. These two were meant to be together, but look out.
And so after that, we have a pretty interesting dynamic that works really well, with Joel kind of be the emotional distant father figure, and then Tess being the more, also emotionally distant, but more connected to their emotions than Joel by far, as like the mother figure. And what's really, really cool about this dynamic is that it makes up for Joel's shortcomings. Like Tess is able to relate to Ellie and talk to Ellie more as a person to person in a way that Joel couldn't. And so this dynamic really covers up for his kind of shortcomings and would have been a more easy arrangement for Joel to deal with than obviously Tess dying and him being the one in charge of everything. And then Tess gets bit, and I think a really, really important character defining moment happens with Joel in this sequence. So let's watch it and then we'll talk about it.
What are you doing, Tess?
Oh, God. Maybe they had a map or something to tell us where they were going.
How far are we gonna take
As
this?
far as it needs to go. Where was this lab of theirs?
Oh, she never said. She only mentioned that it was someplace out west.
What are we doing here? This is not us.
What do you know about us? About me?
I know that you are smarter than this.
Really? Guess what? We're shitty people, Joel. It's been that way for a long time.
No, we are survivors.
This is our chance.
It is over, Tess! Now, we tried. Let's just go home.
I'm not going anywhere. This is my last stop.
What?
Our luck had to run out sooner or later.
You going on?
No, don't! Don't touch me.
Holy shit. She's infected.
Joel,
Let me see.
I didn't mean for this.
Show it to me. Oh, Christ.
Oops, right? Give me your arm. This was 3 weeks. I was bitten an hour ago, and it's already worse. This is fucking real, Joel. You've got to get this girl to Tommy's. He used to run with this crew. He'll know where to go.
No. That was your crusade. I am not doing that.
Yes, you are. Look, there's enough here that you have to feel some sort of obligation to me, so you get her to Tommy's. They're here.
Damn it.
I can buy you some time, but you have to run.
You want us to just leave you here?
Yes.
There is no way that...
I will not turn into one of those things. Come on. Make this easy for me.
I can find...
No, just go! Just fucking go.
Ellie,
I'm sorry. I didn't mean for this.
get a move on.
We know you're in there. Drop your weapons and come out with your hands up.
God, even in death, Tess is such a badass. So there's a couple of things that I think is really important to point out. The first thing is that we're shitty people, Joel, right? So Tess feels, it seems that Tess feels more of a moral burden about the things that they have done to survive than Joel, because Joel's response is like, we're survivors. And that does not work for her. She does not feel like they have done enough good to make up for the bad that they've done. And a cure to save mankind for her feels like a way to wash away or to make up for the awful things that her and Joel has done. And that's why she's so focused on making sure that Joel does this. Joel does not feel the same way, and I think that's really important. She is saying, you have some sort of obligation to me, right? So do this for me. So Joel is not doing this because he thinks it's the right thing to do or he thinks it's going to cure humanity. He is doing this for his love and care for Tess. Tess thought that this was a really, really good idea, and Tess thought that this could work, and I really care about Tess. So to honor her memory, I'm gonna do this even if I don't think it's fucking worth it. There's probably a small part of him that thinks that maybe there's a cure for mankind and maybe this will work, but he's mostly concerned about surviving, and doing this thing with Ellie is going to put his survival at risk. But I think it's a testament to how much he really, really cares about Tess, that he is willing to do this thing. And it really makes the decision he makes at the very, very end make more sense, because you can be forgiven in forgetting that he didn't want to do this, and his priorities were always for himself. He wasn't taking Ellie across the world because that's what Ellie wanted or because he felt it was the moral good thing to do. He was doing it to honor Tess's memory, at least initially. So when it came down to it, it became another decision of what he was wanting to do for himself, i.e. keeping Ellie alive. So when you look at the reason he did this journey in the first place, it kind of makes that ending decision make a lot more sense. And how is Ellie doing? Well, this is a really, really scary part for Ellie, because once again, she feels that she is responsible for another person's death. Her, love interest person she really cared about, Riley, has died. She has lost other people that we might not know about, and then Tess has gotten bitten in trying to save her. And so this really fuels her internal monologue of, I need to be the one to save the world because I am causing people to die, and there's so much death that happens. Every death that happens around Ellie, it goes into her guilt because she wants to be the one to be able to save people. And when people are dying around you constantly, it makes a lot of sense why she is so fixated on making sure that they get to meet the Fireflies, because she wants to be the one to make up for all of these people that have died. And so that's how our journey begins. We have a very disgruntled, very unwilling protector that is doing this to honor the memory of someone he cares about and maybe buying in a little bit to the cure to save the world. And then we have a young girl who is very inexperienced, who has never been in the outside world, but is very determined and very smart and wants to be the thing that saves the world. And the journey starts. So Joel starts their journey with laying down some ground rules.
Hey, look, about Tess. I don't even know what
Here's how this thing's gonna play out. You don't bring up Tess. Ever. Matter of fact, we just keep our histories to ourselves. Secondly, don't tell anybody about your condition. They think you're crazy, they'll try to kill you. And lastly, you do what I say when I say it. We clear?
Sure.
Repeat it.
What you say goes.
There we go. So Papa Joel's really establishes the rules that I am the parent and you are the child. What I say goes. You do not have a say. You do not do anything unless I tell you to do it. As a person who's grown up with parents, you and I have probably heard our parents say the exact same thing. So it's very, very clearly established that Ellie does not get a say in this. They are not partners. They are not equals. Ellie is the child and he is the adult. Ellie is not a fan of that, and most children aren't a fan of this tactic. But what makes this dynamic even more interesting is that although she is a child, but she is 14, and this is zombie apocalypse rules. So you are going to want someone, if they are able-bodied, to be able to protect themselves and to be able to give opinions and stuff like that, because things are wild. There are kids with guns, and that will kill you. Like the landscape is far more dangerous, but Joel is not interested in seeing her as an equal or arming her or teaching her how to defend herself. because he sees her as a child. And that's really important to keep in context, is that he really believes that she's a kid, and it's not even malicious. It's not even totally malicious. He believes that kids should be kids and that kids shouldn't have to kill people and kids shouldn't have to do, dark things. So he wants to shield her from that pressure, as well as just having the firm belief that I am the adult, I know what is best, and so I am the thing that's going to lead us. Ellie is not a big fan of that, and there's a lot of evidence that Ellie is not a big fan of that, because she is asking for a gun the entire time because she wants to be able to defend herself.
Seeing as it's just the two of us, I was thinking I should
She doesn't want to be this thing that is led around, that doesn't have any sort of autonomy. She wants to be able to have agency over her own life. So the journey continues and we meet Bill. And so I either saw a video essay or I read it in an article that a lot of the Joel's interactions with other characters are reflections of versions of parenting he could be. So we look at Tess, who is more emotionally involved. We can look at Bill and say this is Joel at his most paranoid. We can look at Sam and Henry and be like, this is what would happen if Joel lost one of his loved ones. And so let's focus on Bill. And so if we look at Bill, he is the pinnacle of survival, right? Super self-sufficient, super armed, very, very smart. He's got all of these setups and he's got a system down. He is what if you're wanting to be a survivor, you can take notes from Bill. And at one of Joel's core attributes is that he wants to survive, but Bill has kind of jumped off the deep end, right? And so Bill represents what Joel could be like if he cut everybody out of his life, much like Bill did, and he only focused on survival, and that was the only thing that mattered to him. He could look like Bill, which is not a pretty sight.
Seriously, you gotta take that kid back to where you found her.
I can't just take her back.
Then send her packing, let her find her own way. Look, let me tell you a story. Once upon a time, I had somebody that I cared about. A partner. Somebody I had to look after. And in this world, that sort of shit's good for one thing. Getting you killed. So you know what I did? I wisened the fuck up. And I realized it's gotta be just me.
Bill, it ain't like that. It's
bullshit. It is just like that.
So essentially in this clip, he's saying, yeah, that girl you have with you, she's gonna get you fucking killed. And you should wisen the fuck up and leave that kid somewhere, because if not, you are going to fucking die. And that's the lesson that Bill kind of gives in the video game, is that Joel, this girl is going to get you killed, because attachments get you killed in this world. Which sucks for Joel, because he is starting to feel more attached to this character. Now, in the TV show, there's a big deviation, because obviously in the TV show, Bill and Frank kill themselves together, and it's like this romantic thing and stuff like that, which is really, really cool. But Bill gives a lesson like he gives in the video game, but it is a different lesson and really, really interesting. So let's hear what Bill has to say.
August 29, 2023. If you find this, please do not come into the bedroom. We left the window open so the house wouldn't smell, but it would probably be a sight. I'm guessing you found this, Joel, because anyone else would have been electrocuted or blown up by one of my traps. Take anything you need. The bunker code is the same as the gate code, but in reverse. Anyway, I never liked you, but still, it's like we're friends. Almost. And I respect you. So I'm gonna tell you something, because you're probably the only person who'll understand. I used to hate the world, and I was happy when everyone died. But I was wrong, because there was one person worth saving. That's what I did. I saved him. Then I protected him. That's why men like you and me are here. We have a job to do. And God help any motherfuckers who stand in our way. I leave you all of my weapons and equipment. Use them to keep...
Holy shit. Talk about some motherfucking foreshadowing. I love this edition. It said, I used to hate the world and was happy when everyone died, but I was wrong because there was one person worth saving. That's what I did. I saved him and then I protected him. That's why men like you and me are here. We have a job to do, and God help any motherfuckers who stand in our way. That is huge. That is the thesis statement to Joel's entire character. That is the person that makes the decision at the end of the game. And I thought it was so interesting that they added this into the TV show, because this plants the seed in Joel's head. It's less about surviving and it's more about protecting, and it's about protecting the one. So damn everyone, damn the world, damn the doctors, damn the soldiers, damn the infected, damn any person who stands in the way of me making sure this one person is taken care of. And that is what prompts him to do the thing that he did at the end of the video game. Not prompts him, but that is part of the reason he does what he does at the end. And I thought adding that into the TV show was a brilliant precursor and foreshadowing for the events to come. And on Ellie's side, she's feeling pretty good because they just got through a very, very tough situation and they start bonding. They have a car scene where they really, really start to warm up to each other.
Oh, man.
Hey, what happened to sleeping?
Okay, I know it doesn't look like it, but this here is not a bad read. Only one problem. Right there. To be continued. I hate cliffhangers.
Where did you get that?
Back at Bill's. I mean, all this stuff was just lying there.
What else did you get?
Well... Here. This make you all nostalgic?
You know, that is actually before my time. That is a winner, though.
Well, better than nothing. Oh, I'm sure your friend will be missing this tonight. It's light on the reading, but it's got some interesting photos.
Now, Ellie, that ain't for kids.
Whoa! How the hell would he even walk around with that thing?
Get rid of that.
Well, hold your horses. I want to see what all the fuss is about. Oh, why are these all stuck together? I'm just fucking with you. Bye-bye, dude.
So this is a really, really big, beautiful moment, and it signifies that they are really, really becoming close, and Ellie is starting to trust him, not just as a protector, but as a somewhat father figure, which is really, really cool. So in the TV show, as they're driving, Ellie starts asking questions about Tommy because that's what they're doing. They're going to go find Tommy. And Joel lets her know that Tommy wanted to save the world. And Joel was never really interested in that. And so once again, this kind of highlights why he makes the decision at the end of the game was because the greater good and the altruistic good of the people was never something Joel was entirely really interested in. That was more of a Tommy thing. So him choosing, Ellie over the potential saving of the world makes a lot of sense because he's letting us know even in the beginning that's not really his thing. And then we get to one of my favorite sequences in the video game, the hunter ambush scene.
Easy.
Please!
Holy shit.
Help!
Are we gonna help him?
Put your seatbelt on, Ellie.
Well, what about the guy?
He ain't even hurt.
And then in the video game, this is so wonderful, we get a glimpse into the fucked up things Joel has done because Ellie asks him, hey man, how did you know that guy wasn't hurt? And this is his response.
How did you know
Know what?
about the ambush?
I've been on both sides.
Oh. So, you kill a lot of innocent people? I'll take that as a yes.
Take it however you want.
Shit. So Joel, who we love, has killed innocent people. And it doesn't seem like it was only a few. That is really, 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 really dark. And in order to kill innocent people, there's this moral switch you kind of have to flip in yourself of saying, okay, I know they're innocent, but I need to do this to survive. Therefore, this is okay, and I have to push past and do this. That requires a level of emotional dampening and closing off yourself to the world that is very, very tough to do, but given the circumstances, Joel was able to do. But that is really, really important to recognize, is that our dude is not clean. It's not that he's like, oh, you know, I've done what I could to survive. It is, I have killed innocent people. I have fooled people, innocent people, into trusting me and killing them in order for my survival. That is fucked. And like, understandable, right? But fucked nonetheless. And this was a big reason why there was the split between Tommy and Joel, because Tommy followed Joel around and did this with him, but Tommy couldn't take it and had to leave, but Joel was fine with it. So I think that also shows the type of person, the type of people Joel and Tommy are. Tommy's more connected to his heart, and Joel has closed off his heart to the world because of all that he has lost. He is really... So this is the point where Ellie is finally given a gun, and this shows a progression in Joel and Ellie's relationship, because he is realizing that in order to survive, she is going to need to be able to take care of herself. So this is him seeing her less as a child and more as an equal, which is really, really great. And Ellie's super fucking thrilled about it, because she has been wanting her own agency and the ability to protect herself since fucking day one. So then we meet Sam and Henry, which I find really, really interesting. And there's a bit of departure in the TV show than in the video game. So in the video game, Sam and Henry, they are brothers, just like they are in the TV show. And in the video game, Henry is really, really cautious and doesn't allow Sam to really take part in things. So Sam wants to keep a robot. He's like, no, dude, we only keep with what we need. You know, he's asking Sam to count all of the cans, and Sam feels like, oh, did Henry send you to check on me? Because he thinks I'm gonna fuck it up. Henry treats Sam as if though he is the little brother, and that he is very much in charge and in control. He is like Joel in that way. What I like what they do with the TV show is it's a big departure where Henry in the TV show is really big on letting the kid Sam embrace things that are fun. So for instance, he has him draw. He lets him draw on his face. He lets him keep his little pad, and it's super subtle things, but he involves him in the conversations that they're having and the plans. This is super subtle, but check this out.
Tunnels.
He doesn't have to involve his brother in these conversations, but he does because he wants his brother to feel like he's involved. He wants to make his brother feel like he is a part of this. And this is really, really cool, because this is reflecting on how the relationship of Ellie and Joel is progressing, because it is progressing closer to that. He's just given her a gun. He's giving her more respect, and he's going to start treating her more like an equal. And the Sam and Henry relationship is a precursor to that. It's really, really cool to show the character growth in that way. But since this is The Last of Us and nothing can stay happy, Sam gets bit. But what's interesting is that in the TV show, Sam lets Ellie know ahead of time that he's been bit. And there's this really, really beautiful moment where Ellie tries to save him.
Blood is medicine. promise. Promise. Hey.
Ellie. Are you okay? Easy, easy, easy. Henry, give me the gun. Henry, give me the gun. What did I do? What did I do? What did I do? Henry, give me the gun. Give me the gun. Give me the gun, Henry. Give me the gun.
So that's a bit of a long clip, but it definitely has a point. So this is really important in Ellie's journey because it shows that she really, really desperately wants to be a healer and she wants to help. And when that fails, it is a big damaging blow to her because once again, somebody dies and she is not able to do anything about it. And it further emphasized at the very end of it, she's like, all right, cool, let's go. So you can see that Ellie is being walled off. Now on Joel's side, he is in a really, really dangerous place. Because he just watched this happen and he's thinking, holy shit, would this, if Ellie got bit or got infected again or something happened to him, would he do the same thing? Would he be able to go on? He is now realizing that he is feeling a deep attachment for this girl and he did not plan on getting that attached to her. So now Joel is dealing with a lot of emotions before he meets Tommy and is like, oh shit, this person just died. I'm not protecting this girl. She is watching people die. This maybe if we keep going on this path, maybe she'll end up like this. I'm fucking this up. I need to get out of this situation before something like this happens to us. And then we meet Tommy. So we're going to deviate a bit. Instead of doing the video game, we're going to focus on the TV show. And it's because the TV show provides a deeper insight into Joel's character. In the video game, essentially, you know, we meet Tommy, some people try to kill us, Ellie runs away, and then he decides to stay with Ellie. But in the TV show, a lot of deeper things happen. So I'm wanting to focus on that. So I'm going to start with us listening to a clip of the creators talking about that episode. So
trying to save somebody and then failing is a terrible feeling. And it is, in fact, the feeling that Joel finds himself soaking in now every day because he's panicked that it's going to happen to him again. He can handle being shot at, he can handle being punched, kicked. What he cannot possibly fathom is going through the experience of losing his child again, and that's what Ellie is becoming to him.
Ellie doesn't make relationships easily, mainly because the relationships she has built have been cruelly taken away from her. That's where Joel and her are the same.
What's incredible was to be able to explore things that I think are very much a part of the experience of the game, but you can expand on.
You're not gonna scare us.
Scared him?
One of those things is the internal life of these characters.
With the show, there was this addition of like, he's having a physical reaction to that. He can't breathe, his chest hurts. It's a combination of his age but also all the events that have just happened.
Are you dying?
And his connection to Ellie. He's just so scared. And Ellie doesn't quite understand what's happening with him. Joel just feels like he needs to save everyone around him. Joel has this goal where he thinks he needs to go save his brother. And then he arrives in Jackson. Not only does he not need to save his brother is thriving.
I think this part of the TV show and video game is really, really important for a lot of reasons. The first part is that Joel is fucking terrified. He is terrified in a way that he has not been terrified in a long, long time. Sure, being shot at is scary, being punched is scary, all of those things are scary, but the thought of re-seeing your trauma in real time again is something unfathomable. This is not a one-to-one comparison, but I have major depression disorder and I've had it for a very, very long time. And so in my deep depression, there is nothing, I don't really care about much. I'm not scared of anything. I'm not scared to die. I've attempted suicide, nothing really bothers me, and I can go through my life not really giving a shit, but, still working, still doing things, but just truly not giving a shit, right? And meeting my partner and falling deeply in love after about 3 years, I became overwhelmed with fear because now I wanted to be on this earth. Now I wanted to be alive. Now there was a cost to if something happened to me or if something happened to them. And that fear was fucking debilitating. So I can't even imagine what the fear he must be going through of losing another daughter figure when he had already lost one 20 years ago. So when he meets Tommy, he is looking for a way out. He is like, oh my God, I have fucked up so much and I'm going to keep fucking off. Please take this burden from me. Leave her before she leaves me. And so I'm going to play the clip of Tommy and Joel talking. I'm going to play it in its entirety because I think it's really, really important to see all of the pain and all of his fears.
It was Marlene. She hired us to smuggle her to some fireflies. It went bad. Tess got bit. She made me swear to take the kid. It was her dying wish. What the hell was I supposed to do? We made it as far as KC, and then, she saved my life there from another kid. 5 years ago, I would have destroyed him. But she had to shoot him to save me, 14 years old, because I was too slow and too fucking deaf to hear him coming. And that's all. I saw a man kill his own brother to save her while I just watched. And today I thought that dog was gonna tear her apart because it smelled something on her. And all I did was stand there. I couldn't move. I couldn't think of anything to say. I was so afraid. You think I can still handle things, but I'm not who I was. I'm weak. Lately, there are these moments where the fear comes up out of nowhere, and my heart feels like it stopped. And I have dreams. Every night.
What kind of dreams?
I don't know. I can't remember. I just know that when I wake up, I've lost something. I'm failing in my sleep. It's all I do. It's all I've ever done. It's failure. Again and again.
You want me to take her?
I'm just gonna get her killed. I know it. I know it. And I have to leave her. Joe, it's why you took off on me, right? To make up for the things we did. Well, here's your chance to bring your kid into a better world. You're younger than me. You're still strong. You said it yourself. You'll come back. You have to take her. You can't tell anyone, not even Maria. Tommy, you're the only one I trust. If anyone else sees those bites on her, what's under her skin, they'll shoot her. It's the last thing I'll ever ask of you. I swear. I'll take her out at dawn.
So I really love that the TV show was able to add this scene because it was able to give us a glimpse into Joel's internal life and what he was going through in a way that the video game couldn't. So let's go through it. So the first thing to bring up, which I think is really important, is that he believes Ellie is immune, and he believes that the Fireflies are going to be able to do something about it and be able to create a cure. There's a lot of revisionist history from a lot of people. They're saying like, oh, Joel never really bought into it. And it's like, no, Joel did think that there was going to be a way that they could do something, which I think is really important. The other thing to point out is that this shit is fucking draining him. He tells him about Tess, which, by the way, I think Tommy is the only person that Joel tells that Tess is actually dead. Everybody else, he just says, oh yeah, Tess is fine. Which I think really kind of articulates how much he really trusts his brother, you know, because it's his brother. But this shit is draining him. He talks about Tess. He talks about Sam and Henry. He talks about her almost being ripped apart by the dogs. He is fucking terrified that he is slipping and that he is going to get this girl killed like he gets everybody kills. He says, I'm failing in my sleep. He is so haunted and debilitated by his love for Ellie, and that is creating such deep fear that he is not ready to deal with and is not equipped to handle. This is not really highlighted in the episode, but in the video game, you know, Joel mentions that, like, you know, like, I did all these fucked up stuff to protect us. So he is still also reeling from the fact that he did all of these fucked up things. So he's in so much pain. He's like, I did all of these fucked up things to survive. Tess is dead. Sam and Henry is dead. There's a cure for the world, and she reminds me of my daughter, and I feel like I'm gonna fuck that up too, and I'm fucking up everything. Please, Tommy, for the love of God, please take this burden off of me. And you're so much better. You're a better person than me. I know you're a better person than me. So can you just take this thing and let me leave her before I lose her? Well, then Ellie hears that, and then she runs off, and then we get one of the most emotionally heartbreaking scenes in the whole thing. So let's get after it.
Tommy knows this area.
Oh, fuck that.
Well, I'm sorry. I trust him better than I trust myself.
Stop with the bullshit. What are you so afraid of? That I'm gonna end up like Sam? I can't get infected. I can take care of myself.
How many close calls have we had?
Well, we seem to be doing all right so far.
And now you'll be doing even better with Tommy.
Not her, you know.
What?
Maria told me about Sarah.
Ellie?
And
you are treading on some mighty thin ice here.
I'm sorry about your daughter, Joel. But I have lost people too.
You have no idea what loss is.
Everyone I have cared for has either died or left me. Everyone fucking except for you. So don't tell me that I would be safer with someone else, because the truth is I would just be more scared.
You're right. You're not my daughter. And I sure as hell ain't your dad.
Oof, I am in tears. And so this scene kind of rehashes Joel's perspective, which is that I think I'm going to fuck up, which is why I'm going to send you to Tommy. But it gives Ellie's perspective, which is, so don't tell me I'd be safer with someone else, because the truth is I'd just be more scared. They have developed a deep trust and a deep bond with each other, and she doesn't want to go with Tommy. She doesn't want to go with anybody else. She doesn't trust anybody on the face of this earth right now more than she trusts Joel. Joel is her protector. Joel is her is her protector. And so she is very, very terrified of the thought of losing him, just like he is terrified of the thought of losing her. But luckily, Joel was able to have a little bit of about face and is like, okay, great. Well, I will take you and things will be okay. And so they decide to go off together. So when they get to the school, nothing really important happens. I mean, they're looking around, they're trying to find the Fireflies. They find, Fireflies graffiti, so they know the Fireflies were there. And they check the school, they try to find someone, and eventually they find that they have traveled somewhere else. And the big thing that happens is that, well, in the video game, Joel falls down and has a spike straight through his freaking stomach. And I think they kill about 3 to 5 people. In the TV show, he only gets stabbed by one and they kill one person. And so the important part about the video game and the TV show is that Ellie is now player one. You have to, Ellie is the one who has to take care of Joel, which is a really, really big thing because it's been the opposite. And it's obviously very terrifying for a 14-year-old girl to have to take care of a full man in a zombie apocalypse with people trying to murder them.
I think we're safe. Joel? Joel? Shit. Joel, here. Oh, get up. You gotta tell me what to do. Come on. You gotta get up. Joel?
So now on to Last of Us Left Behind. So in the TV show, it just kind of comes up in the TV show, but in the video game, you beat Last of Us 1, and then years later, they put a Left Behind DLC, which is a story about Ellie, and takes place in between when Joel falls down and gets his little body impaled, and when he wakes up. Because obviously Ellie had to take care of him during that time, and we've been wondering what happened. So we get to see that, as well as we get to see a backstory of Ellie and her friend Riley, and how their relationship came to be, and how Ellie got infected and how Riley got infected. So this arc is really, really important to Ellie. A little side note, this is really cool in the video game. When they were first making the first game, they really wanted to have the infected interact with the normal people that were trying to kill you, but they couldn't figure out a way to do that because they didn't have the time. And so in the Left Behind DLC, they got to add that into the game, which is really, really cool. Anyway, this is really important to Ellie because we learn a lot about her. So great. We meet Ellie. She's in a QZ and she's got this friend named Riley, who she really, really likes. And Riley has recently left to become a Firefly. And Marlene is in charge of the Fireflies. Now, this is a really, really big deal because the military inside the QZ are super, super anti the Fireflies. And so Ellie is growing up in an environment with a lot of rules, a lot of regulations, and a lot of people that are really, really strict on them. So Riley really represents freedom and excitement in Ellie's life because Riley just kind of does whatever she wants. Riley is a kid, but said fuck it, and she leaves the QZ and she goes and she meets the leader of the Fireflies and becomes a Firefly, which is really, really big. They also drop little hints about the dealings of the Fireflies. For instance, when they're walking around, Riley talks about how like they saw some infected, and Riley mentions, oh, well, Marlene had me kill some infected as a sort of initiation, and she kind of trails off. So it kind of gives us the thing of like, oh, okay, cool. So the Fireflies are all for like justice and revolution, but they also seem really, really freaking dark. Likely because they feel you have to be dark in order to deal with these times. But it is another window into the darkness that is the Fireflies. You'll see, but essentially it breaks down two really key components of Ellie's character, and that is her self-sufficiency and her deep relationship to Riley. So in the self-sufficiency column, in all of the scenes that she is protecting Joel, she is scavenging around, she is killing infected, she's killing humans, she's sneaking, she's, quest searching, she's doing all of these things without Joel's direction, without Joel's help. She's doing them all by herself, and she's doing really, really well. So this shows that Ellie is a really, really capable, strong individual to be taking out these full men and these infected by herself. And on the relationship with Riley's side, the whole episode is just this beautiful depiction of their friendship and their love. And they do a contest where they break car windows, and they do a water gun contest. They do a joke book contest. There's all of these really, really beautiful things. And I'm wanting to show some of it because it's easy to just say it, but to really, really see the love that Ellie has for Riley, you really just have to see it.
Come on, get up here, sit next to me.
All right, wait up.
No. A boiled egg in the morning is really hard to beat.
That's funny.
That is funny.
I like that one.
I'm reading a book on anti-gravity, and it's impossible to put down.
Nice.
Yes, that one's awesome. It's not that the guy didn't know how to juggle. He just didn't have the balls to do it.
Oh.
As an angel. Okay, something creepy. Teddy store. Oh no!
Oh, let's make an ugly face.
Okay. Pufferfish, pufferfish.
So the whole time this is happening, it's these really beautiful moments, and Ellie is wondering, Riley, why did you bring me out here? And eventually Ellie confronts her about it, and they have a really, really emotional scene talking about it.
Here. What is it? Hey, what's wrong?
Don't go.
Got flowers in the spring, yeah. I've got you to wear my ring. And when I'm sad, you're a cloud.
Sorry.
And when I get scared, you're always around.
What do we do now?
We'll figure it out. But I don't think Marlene's gonna go.
Wait. Riley!
So what's really, really heartbreaking about this moment, there's a lot of things that are heartbreaking in this moment, but it is that Ellie has decided to open up. She's decided to let Riley know her feelings, and they have made a step forward into their relationship of, okay, we're going to choose each other and we're going to figure it out. And it doesn't work out, and it doesn't work out to tragic ends, which we know is so damaging. And what's scary about how the Last of Us DLC is structured is that we know Ellie gets bit. I mean, we know Ellie and Riley get bit. So the entire time you're watching this, you are waiting in anticipation and fear, because you know that they don't end up okay in this, which is just really cool storytelling. So we cut back to Ellie going around and killing all these people who are stopping her, and it's really kind of badass because she's saying things like Joel, and she really has her own Joel moment.
If anyone's alive, don't even think about surprising me! You'll end up like your friends, you hear me? Yeah?
And so all of this is just to really re-highlight the things that I've been saying in the past, is that Ellie is really strong and really capable of taking care of herself. So then we have just a gut-wrenching, high energy chase scene with Ellie and Riley running away from these zombies. Side note, this is like a Naughty Dog tagline. They love playing music, like just like normal casual music during high velocity, high intensity scenes, which adds to the dissonance of it, because we've got normal music that you would just listen to on the radio or your iPod, what fucking year is this, or on your, like your phone or whatever, juxtaposed with these very violent, terrifying scenes. It creates this really cool dissonance that's really interesting. So even though they run, they don't get away, and so they spend their final moments together, which I think are really important. So I'm going to play it in its entirety.
The way I see it, we got two options. Option one, you take the easy way out. It's quick and painless. I'm not a fan of option one. Two, we fight.
Fight for what? We're gonna turn into one of those things.
There are a million ways we should have died before today. And a million ways we can die before tomorrow. But we fight for every second we get to spend with each other. Whether it's 2 minutes or 2 days, we don't give that up. I don't want to give that up. My vote Let's just wait it out. You know, we can be all poetic and just lose our minds together.
What's option 3?
Sorry. Come on. Let's get out of here.
Man, oh man, I'm telling you, I cried like a little baby. So what Riley says really resonates with Ellie, which is that, you know, we fight for every second, every minute we get to spend with the ones we love, that we fight. And it cuts back and forth between scenes of her and Riley and her and Joel, because obviously she loves both of them really, really deeply. But this whole situation kind of really articulates the loss that she is feeling. You know, Joel, we focus a lot on Joel's loss because he, you know, it kind of affects the story a lot. But she says it in one of the scenes, Joel, I've lost people too. And these are deep, real, painful losses. And something that is even more painful when you start to think about it, and we don't get to see this, is that eventually Riley turned and Ellie doesn't. What does that look like? We don't know. Did Ellie have to kill her in the end? Did one of the Fireflies kill him? Did she turn? Like, we don't know. So there's another level of deep pain that is like my headcanon is that it's so deep and painful they won't even show us, you know. So I think it's really important that this whole section try to really articulate how much pain that Ellie is in. So then we cut to the snow day, and Ellie is trying to take care of Joel, and these guys are searching for them, and Ellie's running. And what was really scary when you first played is seeing the magnitude of men that are looking for you. It is a huge troop, and eventually they catch them, and we meet David, who is a very scary, unsettling motherfucker. So we see that Ellie is fucking ruthless and vicious, and Joel isn't here to protect her, to have her back, and so she's in real danger here. She's always in danger, but she's real in danger because her aggressiveness and her temper and her anger, while justified, is putting her in a situation that she might not be able to get out of. But much like her father figure, she is showing that she is fucking. And speaking of vicious, then Joel wakes up, and he wakes up in a fucking rage because he has no idea where Ellie is, and he tortures these two men. And so I'm going to insert that clip so that we can see it, and we can talk about why this scene is so important.
Is she alive?
What girl? I don't know no girl. Fuck!
Focus right here, right here. I'll pop your goddamn knee off. The girl.
She's alive. She's David's newest pet.
Where?
In the town. In the town.
Now you're gonna mark it on the map. And it better be the same exact spot your buddy points to. Mark it.
It's right there. You can verify it. Go ask him. Go on. I tell you, I ain't lying. I ain't. Fuck you, man. He told you what you wanted. I ain't telling you shit.
That's all right. I believe him.
No, wait!
So when I was watching this scene, it's so cathartic because you're obviously wanting to fuck up any person who is messing with Ellie, and so it just, the dopamine rush, I mean, I got personally of watching these two dudes get fucking tortured was just insane. It just feels so good. But the thing that it really highlights is Joel's good at this. Joel is good at killing, about getting information, like almost military trained style interrogation. And so it gives us another window into, you know, like we've seen Joel kill a bunch of people and we've heard that he's done bad things, but then like we also can see that he's capable of torture, because I think at that point, outside of like the kind of torture they did with Robert, we haven't seen Joel torture. So it really shows us the depth of his ability to kill and hurt. And at the time, we're fucking loving it, because it's like, yeah, fuck those motherfuckers. They fucking took Ellie and all those motherfuckers get to die. So it's a really, really big character beat. So time goes on. Ellie is going around, you know, killing people trying to escape David, and Joel is going around killing people trying to find Ellie, and eventually we get into a final confrontation with Ellie v. David, and it is fucking terrifying. And we really think that Ellie might be fucked, but she was able to, you know, get away, and she starts hacking away at him with this machete.
Stop! Fucking touch me!
It's okay. It's me. It's me. It's me. Look. It's me.
He tried to...
Oh, baby girl. It's okay. It's okay.
Joel.
And so there's a lot of really painful parts about that scene. And so she's doing this, and Joel stops her, and there's a lot that's happening. So on Joel's end, he feels guilty that he wasn't there to protect her. He is watching his baby girl. A side note, Joel calls the voice actor that Troy Baker calls his daughter baby girl, and so that's what it's a reference to. But he sees his baby girl having to do these awful things to defend herself, so he feels like a piece of shit for not, you know, saving her. On Ellie's side, she's doing what she has to do, but this is fucking PTSD trauma, fucking terrified fight or flight response. And so she is just terrified and angry and hurt and scared, and all of these really, really, really just complex, painful emotions. And to deal with all of them, she just gets quiet. After all of this happens, you know, we meet up with Joel and Ellie, and they are at the Firefly facility, or they're trying to find the Firefly facility, and she is really, really quiet. And you can see Joel is the one that is trying to, like, you know, start conversations and, you know, calling her kiddo and you know, little fun things like that. But because of the like pain that she's dealt with, she is not in a place to talk. She's different. She's fundamentally different from that moment on. And something that I find really interesting about this whole thing is that Joel gives her an out. Joel says that, you know, like, you don't have to do this. Like, you know, like, we don't need to do this. And Ellie is like, no, I am seeing this to the end. And it's really important to remember that Ellie wants this to happen. This was never the most important thing for Joel, but this is the most important thing for Ellie. She says it herself. She says, they can't all be for nothing. This all has to be for something. So this moment and going through with this is really, really important for her. Whew. Okay, so this is the beginning, folks. So let's do this. Let's all take a collective deep breath and seek our way stumble through the darkness of these next few moments. So right when they're about to drown, Marlene soldiers find Joel and they hit him on the head very aggressively. And Marlene and Joel have a talk about what happens next.
The hell you mean surgery?
The doctors tell me the cordyceps, the growth inside her, has somehow mutated. It's why she's immune. Once they remove it, they'll be able to reverse engineer a vaccine. A vaccine.
But it grows all over the brain.
It does.
Find someone else.
There is no one else.
Listen, you were gonna show me where...
Stop. I get it. But whatever it is you think you're going through right now is nothing to what I have been through. I knew her since she was born. I promised your mother I would look after her.
Then why are you letting this happen?
Because this isn't about me, or even her. There is no other choice here.
Yeah, you keep telling yourself that bullshit.
March him out of here. He tries anything, shoot him. Don't waste this gift, Joel.
Woo-wee! Okay, so we are in it now. So there's a lot of important things to unpack. So on Marlene's end, we'll start with Joel. Joel is like, okay, he's kind of fine with everything. He's like, yeah, maybe it was meant to be. But it is only until he realizes that, oh, they're going to kill her. I have a problem with this, find somebody else, even though he knows that there's nobody else is immune. And he immediately starts to flare up and freak out. And Marlene tries to check him on it. And it's like, dude, cool. You've spent maybe, 3 weeks, months. They've spent months. They've been months and months together. Cool. Sure. I've known her since she was a child. And I am making this decision because it's not about us. And Joel's decision is about him. It's about keeping what it is that he wants. Which might sound harsh, but it's the truth of the matter is that this is something that he wants, because if he searches his heart, he knows deep down that this is not something that Ellie would have wanted, and that she would be okay if she was awakened and told, she would have been okay with this. And that's what makes this kind of fuzzy a little bit, is that she didn't give her consent, but we know if we take everything that we know about Ellie, we know that this is what that she would want. And then we get into one of the most fun sequences as any video game. Maybe fun's the wrong word, but like cathartic, of you just killing every fucking soldier that walks in your path and sneaking and shooting. It is just, and your heart is racing the whole time because you just want to save Ellie. The only thing that is important is saving Ellie. We gotta save Ellie. We gotta save Ellie. We gotta save Ellie. And we will kill any motherfucker that stands in our way. We think about Sam and Henry fucking dying. We think about Tess dying. We think about the things that Bill have said is that, like, watch out any motherfucker that stands in our way. We think about our daughter dying and us not being able to do anything. We think about all of the times that we have failed. And this time we are not going to fail. We are going to save Ellie. And so we do it. We kill the doctors and we grab Ellie and we go to make our escape. Joel makes the decision. We as the player make the decision, so we're also complicit in it. And most of us, I know when I was playing it, was fine with that. It was fine that we did what we did because we needed to save Ellie, and that's the only thing that mattered. But then we are stopped by Marlene.
You can't save her. Even if you get her out of here, then what? How long before she's torn to pieces by a pack of clickers? That is, if she hasn't been raped and murdered first.
It ain't for you to decide.
It's what she'd want. And you know it. Look. You can still do the right thing here. She won't feel anything.
And we do it. We do what we need to do to save Ellie, and that means killing Marlene and making sure that she stays dead. And so we drive off, and Ellie and Joel talk, and Joel says, hey, they just didn't find a cure. And so later, Ellie and Joel have another conversation where Ellie asks him the same question because she really wants to make sure he's telling the truth.
It was Riley, and she was the first to die. And then it was Tess. And then Sam.
None of that is on you.
You don't understand.
I struggled for a long time with surviving. And you... No matter what, you keep finding something to fight for. Now, I know that's not what you want to hear right now.
Swear to me. Swear to me that everything that you said about the Fireflies is true.
I swear.
Okay.
So, of course, a lot to unpack in this iconic scene where Ellie talks about the people she's lost, Riley and Sam and Tess and all of these people, and she needs him to swear. She needs him to let her know for sure that there is no cure and that there's nothing that can be done. and he decides to lie. Woof. Okay, so with that out of the way, this becomes the formal start of my case against Joel Miller. So there are a lot of problems with Joel's decision, and so I guess we will just kind of start from like the most outward part and then kind of hone in as we go more and more into the analysis. So he doomed the world. Ellie is the cure. There's the only person like her. They only know one other person, so there is no just finding another person. And they think that this person will cure the world, and that's a really big deal. All of America and Asia and the entire world is awful. I mean, we really don't need to belabor this point. He has chosen to forsake the entire world to save someone that he loves. And I know a lot of people see that as an act of love, but it's actually an extreme act of selfishness. To choose your life for the next, 40 years over the lives of billions is an insane thing to do. Like, understandably, based on what he's done, like what he's been through, but like a really insane, selfish thing to do. A lot of people kind of counter this, and because there's this really cool game theory that kind of debunks Ellie being the cure and essentially says that they wouldn't have been able to come with a cure and manufacture a cure. But the really important point is that in that moment, Joel and everybody else in the story believes that that is the cure. So he is making that decision knowing that he is dooming the world, which is a real big problem. It's a big old selfishness. Not only does he kill a bunch of soldiers, which means that the Firefly movement is smaller, he also killed Marlene, which means that the leader of the Fireflies is dead, which means that the Fireflies will likely dissolve, as well as killing the doctors who would have been able to do the cure. So not only has he taken Ellie away and taken the chance for a cure, they have taken away the people who facilitated the process to create a cure in the first place. So even if, Ellie's gone, if they want to try again, their numbers have been severely massacred because, once again, Joel wanted to save something because it was important to him. And so that is the problem and how it scales to the world at large. That is the decision that he makes and how it affects the world. Now we'll focus on how this decision that he made affects Ellie. And the reason why I'm breaking all of these down is because I think it's really important to keep into context the level of damage this one decision has caused, because there's a lot of implications and a lot of deep damage that just this one act caused. So a lot of people bring up something that I think is super valid, is that the Fireflies kind of went about this in the bad way because they didn't let Ellie choose, right? And I think that's super valid and important to bring up, is that ideally they would have woken Ellie up and told her what was going to happen, and then she make the decision and then go forward. But that also wouldn't be as interesting story-wise. And so, but I really like that they add this as to add more nuance and to add more debate to this ethical choice. But I think everyone can agree that Ellie would have wanted to do this. Ellie had put so much stock into her being the cure of the world. Every person that died, every person that they left behind, all of the people who've been suffering, Ellie took on that and was able to cope with it by saying, I'm going to be the one to save the world. And Joel took her opportunity to feel that. Autonomy was always really important to Ellie. She always wanted to be able to do her own thing. She always wanted to be able to stand up for herself. And what Joel does in this decision is taking her choice away. And yeah, the Fireflies, quote unquote, take their choice, but it was something that Ellie would have been fine with doing, and we know that. And it's further emphasized by the fact that Joel then lies to her, because if Joel didn't think that it was a decision that Ellie wouldn't have liked, he could have just told her after, hey, they were going to do this, but I know you wouldn't want that, so I killed him and I stopped him. But he doesn't. He lies to her, which further emphasizes that he knows he's in the wrong. So I'm going to move on to challenging the arguments that people make when they're trying to defend Joel. So one of the arguments a lot of people make is, oh, well, it's family, and you got to do whatever you can to, save your family. I don't really think that stands up, because everybody has a family. Everyone has a family. And how do we determine whose family is more important than whose, It's very easy to get tunnel vision and to be like, okay, well, it's only my crew and it's only the people that I care about, but that's not really fair, right? I have a mom and a dad and a sister that I cared about, and you have a mom and a dad whose sister that you care about. Whose family is more important? And so we feel like Joel is more justified, right? because we know Joel and we've experienced Joel and we know where he's come from, but everybody has a story. So I don't really think he's doing it to protect his family. I don't think that has a lot of legs to stand on. So a lot of people counter where it's not fair to Ellie. You know, Ellie's a kid, so she shouldn't have to die. And so I'm gonna play this cute little clip.
I'll come out. Just let the kids go.
No. Sorry. The girl is with the man who killed Brian, and Sam... Well, Sam's with you.
You don't understand.
But I do. I know why you did what you did. But did you ever stop to think that maybe he was supposed to die?
He's just a fucking kid.
Well, kids die, Henry. They die all the time. You think the whole world revolves around him? That he's worth everything?
Kids die, Henry. They die all the time. Now, I know that it's really, really tough to hear, and I'm not out here being like, listen, fuck it, kids die, who gives a shit? But we have the tendency as a society to elevate the importance of kids, you know, and to preserve the innocence. But in this zombie apocalypse, life is just this, you know? It's a zombie apocalypse. People are dying every day. Kids are dying every day. It's all just even. So to elevate Ellie once again because she's a kid doesn't really respect the autonomy and the independence that she has, but also just doesn't really make a lot of sense in this world where everyone is dying, everything is unpredictable, everything is going everywhere, and everything is falling apart. It just feels kind of silly to be stuck on the fact that, well, Ellie is a kid. Yeah, dude. Kids die, and it sucks. It sucks, but yeah, kids die. So even despite all of these, you know, points, there is still a huge number of people who feel super, super strongly that Joel is right. And I wanted to analyze and unpack that because it's one thing to be like, yeah, you know, I think the character, you know, is right about this thing. But people are so violently opposed to any sort of defamation of Joel. And I really think that there's something deeper there, right? There's got to be something deeper there. And it's my theory that when people feel you are attacking Joel, they feel you are attacking the very conception of fatherhood. Let's talk about it. So I want to start this analysis by talking about an observation that I learned from a channel called Just Right, and the video is The Witcher 3, The Last of Us, and the Daddening of Video Games. Let's check it out.
If you picked up a video game at random, chances are the main character will be a gruff older man who's really good at killing things. But increasingly, chances are there'll be a gruff older man who's really good at killing things and is also a father. Whether it's BioShock Infinite, God of War, Heavy Rain, Red Dead Redemption, Dishonored, Grand Theft Auto 5, The Walking Dead, The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, or The Last of Us, video games have become obsessed with the idea of fatherhood. In a 2010 Kotaku article, Stephen Totillo dubbed this phenomenon the daddening of video games.
So I think this is really insightful because it gives us a jumping off point to talk about this. So if we think about 2013 and the video games that had come out beforehand, it was a lot of video games like this, and the conception of fatherhood through the lens of these video games is you need to kill and fight in order to protect someone that you love. And what's really interesting is Joel falls into that archetype really, really well. He's a gruff, burdened guy with a rough past, and he's really good at killing, and he wants to protect someone. He's got all the qualities. So when you're playing a game like that, it's what you'd expect. You're going to be there, you're going to kill a bunch of people and protect someone. That's what you're signing up for. But what The Last of Us does is they call that trope into question.
And he said that the games taught him that being a father is mostly about caring for someone who is fairly helpless. But many games have come out since then where that isn't really the case, where the child character isn't helpless. And the stories are about the parents reacting to that. The result are games that rethink how to portray fatherhood, and by extension, masculinity.
Bingo. So what Last of Us is doing is essentially using Joel as a vehicle to critique masculinity and, by extension, fatherhood. And this right here is where I think a lot of gamers get it twisted. When a lot of gamers have sit down, my assumption is that they're very comfortable with how The Last of Us is structured, right? Because it's structured how a lot of video games are, which is that you were this burdened badass who will go and you'll kill. And most of the stories are set up where that's the point. You were supposed to work hard and kill a bunch of people in order to save someone. That is the whole point of the game. And so if you end the game at the end of the Firefly section where you kill all of the doctors, then bada bing bada boom, you have a game. That is something that fits in with that time's current definition of fatherhood and masculinity. And that definition is kill whoever you need to kill, stop whoever you need to stop to keep the one that you love safe. The only thing that matters is that you protect the person that you care about the most. Protection. That is what it means to be a father and nothing else. And this is a conception of fatherhood that a lot of people have had. Growing up, my father was big about making sure our family was taken care of. He wasn't really there for things when it came to emotional vulnerability, but he was always there to provide. And that was the thing that he did consistently. So when you say something like, oh, well, what Joel did was wrong, it feels for a lot of people like you are attacking their conception of fatherhood and by extension, who they are, because a lot of these gamers are fathers or soon to be fathers or aspiring fathers. The evolution of what it means to be a dad is ever growing and ever changing. And what The Last of Us was trying to do is to call into question our initial conception of fatherhood. And so when you look at all of these angry comments that I and other people have received when we try to challenge Joel's decisions, it starts to make a lot more sense. Insert, evidently you'd kill your own daughter, you beta male cuck loser. No woman should ever want to entrust a psycho like you with her child. And what he's really trying to say is that I believe that taking care of a child means doing whatever you can to make sure they are safe. And the fact that you don't believe in that and that you don't view taking care of children as important as I do means that you must be this crazy, psycho, disgusting person and you should fucking die. Which is a wild response, but now makes a bit more sense, right? And something that I think is really, really important about this line of thinking is that this line of thinking about being a protector and that being the only thing that matters really, really ignores the person you're protecting. It ignores their feelings and their thoughts and their autonomy.
Framing fatherhood solely through violence makes this relationship entirely about power. All of the early episodes with Tess, Bill, Tommy, Henry, they're all about Joel figuring out what he wants out of this relationship and out of life, and not really about what Ellie wants. The ending simply makes that relationship explicit.
Yeah, so that's what's really painful about this whole thing is that people might not even know it, but this conception of fatherhood has a lot of problems and flaws because it's not really about what the person wants, it's what you want. You want to keep them safe because if they are not safe, you are in distress. A lot of people view fatherhood and also parenthood as a one-way street. You dictate what your kid cannot do, and there is not a lot of room for their opinion because they're a kid, right? And since they're a kid, they don't know anything, right? But nowadays, that conception of parenthood is changing, and there are plenty of books and studies that show that kids do have a lot of thoughts and opinions, and we should encourage them, and we should give them a say in how things are, because they are people. They're not just little children, they are people with their own thoughts and ideas. And sure, you shouldn't let a 4-year-old do whatever he wants because he'll probably eat a bunch of marshmallows and throw up on the couch, but there's obviously a bunch of nuance to this. And the bigger thing to kind of bring up is that Ellie's not a child. She's a 14-year-old girl. She's killed before. She has killed human beings. I feel as if though if you are old enough to live in an apocalypse and you have killed and you have seen death, she is entitled to her own thoughts and her own opinions and her own autonomy when it comes to things like this. The entire game was not about Joel taking Ellie because this is what Ellie wants. It was about what Joel wanted. Joel wanted this because Tess wanted this. And then once it became at the very end of the journey and he found out that he wasn't going to be able to get what he wanted, which was a relationship with Ellie after this whole event, it no longer became something that he was going to stand for. And that is taking the protection role and that fatherhood role to the utmost extremes, which is why it is so interesting. And this leads into a lot of things. If you love Ellie, you have to love her for everything. You have to love her for her dreams, for her wants, for her desires. It is not enough to just love Ellie for the things that you want. You have to love Ellie for who she is. This also makes sense that a lot of people don't like Ellie as much, whether they know it or not, when they start finding out that she's gay, because this was not a part of their conception of Ellie. It kind of complicates things because it's like, well, I saw you as this thing to protect, and I am comfortable with that relationship. Now that you were doing things outside of this relationship, wanting to, give yourself up to the Fireflies, being gay and all of these other things, it challenges people's initial conception of Ellie, which frustrates people whether they know it or not. I read this YouTube comment once that said, a dad story allows you to take a fully developed character that shouldn't be able to develop further, i.e. Joel, and throw them into a scenario where they must alter their nature, not to be their best self, but to be their best self for someone they love. And that was the opportunity that Joel had. He had the opportunity, despite all of the things that he's done, despite all of the selfish, dark things that he has done, he could have chose Ellie. He could have chose Ellie and the things that she wanted, but he chose the opposite. And I think the thing that is the most heartbreaking, for me at least, is that Joel still could have had a happy ending. So imagine if Joel went back. He listens to Marlene and he says okay, and he gets his stuff and he goes back to Jackson. And in Jackson, there are over 300 people. They have electricity, they have running water, they've got movies, they've got food, they've got patrols. There are no infected. His brother is there. A link to his past, a link to his home is there. And yes, it would be so painful to live in a world without Ellie, but that whole journey with Ellie could have showed him that even when you think that all is lost and that there's nobody there for you, that you can always find love and you can always find hope and something else to believe in. And he is able to be able to do that because he would be able to live there for the rest of his life. The journey with Ellie could have been the catalyst for him to realize that he's got so much more life to live. I think so many people in their lives, myself included, have been in points in which there feels like there is no fucking reason to go on, whether it be intense loss or depression, or there's just an infinite amount of things that can rob you of what it means to live. I wanted Joel's journey with Ellie to revitalize him and give him another lease on life, and to show him that even though Ellie is gone and things are painful right now, that there will always be a reason to endure and survive. Whew, man, oh man, I am emotional. If you stayed for all of this, shout out to you. What is your favorite color? Nobody stayed to the end of this. If you like it, I guess tell me if you want others. I don't know if anybody will like this. I love Last of Us. I'm a really, really big fan of Last of Us 2. So I've got a lot of stuff on that. But if you want me to do more character analysis on Joel or Ellie or Tess or anyone, please let me know. Thank you for staying by if you made it this long. Yeah, have a good old day. Good old Joel. Good Joel old. Bye now. Evidently, you'd kill your own daughter, you beta male cuck loser. No woman should ever entrust a psycho like you with her child. Whoa, what a wild intro. Yo, my name is Chaos Light, and I'm going to talk to you about The Last of Us. And I'm sure you read the title, and I know it sounds really extreme. I promise you it's not clickbait. I totally have a point, so if you just give me the time and bear with me and open your heart to the possibility of this, I promise you it'll be worth it. And if you stay, you get to hear why I read you that random comment and where that came from. So yeah, let's do this.